I have what's called, or what I call anyway, an incredibly selective memory. Meaning, there's certain things that I remember like they happened yesterday and they were years ago. And there's other things, simpler things, that I have to almost learn every day. It's weird. It's like my brain literally compartmentalizes thoughts like a recycle bin of a computer. So once there's too much shit, it deletes some of it, and then if you need it again, you have to re-download it. But other things, it leaves. Now, my brain breaks things up into even further categories, like there's things that are always there, constantly reminding me that I know them and I remember them. One of the things was a moment that I had when I was 5 years old. And I told myself then that I will never forget this moment. There was no particular reason that I chose to remember it, but other than the fact that I was, testing myself to see if I could remember it. And to this day, fucking 32 years later, here I am. Anyway, so then there's other things that it remembers, but it keeps it like in the back seat, like in the room. So in order for you to access, or in order for the memory, the mind to come and pull that memory out, you have to be in a certain situation, a circumstance, and then, oh yeah, boom, 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 you make a connection. And the way I think about things is I remember the things I like. Well, that's everyone, You're good at what you like and you like what you're good at, that's great. But you're more likely to remember something if you're good at it or if you like it. So that being said, the way we've been approaching learning in general has been a little off. Specifically languages. So when you learn a language, when you want to learn French or Spanish, I want to learn Spanish by tomorrow. What do? I go grab a dictionary and fucking start yo, you, tú, we, nosotros. What the fuck is nosotros? But that's not the right way to go about it. You see, for you to learn anything, you have to apply it to something that you like. And if you don't have anything like that, you have to apply it to your life, because you have to live life no matter what, if you like it or not. So for instance, if my job is a painter, my first word, and I want to learn Spanish, my first words that I learn are not going to be manzana, They're not going to be circunstancias. They're not going to be vengadores. It's going to be pinta, cepillo, like paint and brush. If I'm a bus driver, the first words that I learn in Spanish are not going to be manzana or pinta or cepillo. They're going to be la calle, parada, la gente, you know what I mean? Those are the words you learn first, because you're going to be using that context anyway. So the more you know about what you're doing every day in the thing that you're trying to learn, the quicker it'll be for you to learn. The word is that you could learn a language in about 6 months fluently if you practice 20 to 45 minutes a day with that method. Furthermore, they say dictionaries and books in general are just bullshit, because those people they're wasting too much time with the back and forth. They're not getting anything. It's better to put the book down, and if you're watching TV or listening to a person speak, try to understand what they're saying without a book, just with the use of body language, intonation, context, and as many words as you can understand. Try to piece it together by yourself. So it's essentially like getting thrown in the middle of Spain, which is actually also not the best, because then you're not going to remember shit. Everyone's just going to be talking Spanish, and you're not going to know what's going on. So, the way I think is I dive into shit. Like I hear a quote that I like or something about it, and won't stop thinking about it until I have picked every bone clean on that quote. That piece of information is dry. Nothing's left in it. I've seen it from every single angle that I could think of in any way possible. And with that, obviously, comes a couple of good ideas, a couple of ridiculous ones, but still, no news is good news. But some of them are good. So I was thinking about what Alan Watts said earlier, what I had listened to earlier. He said that everything has an inside, has an outside, and vice versa. And the conspiracy between the two things are to appear as different as possible, however, be the same thing. So I was thinking about the whole aspect of past lives, reincarnation, all that jazz. In my opinion, applying Alan Watts' philosophy in this, the way a person acts throughout their life, their character, and not their upbringing, their character, like who they are. Because a stubborn person will always be stubborn, and a naive person will always be naive. Even though they get smart, they'll still be that klutz, so to speak. A hopeless romantic will always be a hopeless romantic, and a piece of shit will always be a piece of shit. There are exceptions to everything, but for the predominantly, it's how a person is about life, what they value in life, what their intentions are, how they treat people they love, how they treat people they don't love. There's a lot to do with, in my opinion, with how they are outside of this existence as well. So, for example, if a person is always willing to learn something new, always willing to dive into shit he's no idea about just to try to see if he could do it, he's the same way in the afterlife or the spirit life. And perhaps this trip on earth is for him to learn how to do less of that. Meanwhile, the other person just loves to do nothing. And I can't do that. I am not the latter. Although in my country, or my native country where I'm from, a lot of people are known for being excellent nothing doers. They will literally do whatever they can to do nothing. And that's like, I mean, like not work, nothing, just chill. Drink tea, I guess. I don't know. That's why I can't even come up with shit to do. Quarantine was one of the biggest learning experiences for me because for the first time in my life, my whole life, I was forced, essentially, to be alone. And there's nothing I can do about it. Thank goodness it wasn't actually prison where I was forced to be alone among people that I didn't like, didn't know, had to, like this, thank God I'm in a house that's nice and warm. I can have whatever food I want. I have some money that I could, spend, get a soda. Although it's not far from prison, with the amount of money that I have. But I'm happy with it, you know what I mean? One of the things it's taught me is how to be alone. And it started to scare me after a while because I started liking it, like too much. To the point where somebody asked me to go out and I was like, nah, for what? Granted, the person wasn't like the best goer-outer, I guess. But I was like, holy shit, what if I fall in love with this and then everything goes back to normal and I'm just going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to be fucking loner. I'm going to be, I was starting to get paranoid. And then I just realized how quickly I was having those thoughts. Pretty much just as quickly as I was saying them now. And I realized I will never be me. Because if I walk outside one day and I see a bunch of people walking by because they're going to a bar or whatever, dude, before the gate clams closed, I'm going to be at the bar sitting down with them. I don't like being alone, but I have learned how to appreciate it. And I don't like being alone because I get so distracted so quickly. And I'm scatterbrained as fuck, so I'll just start so many things. And then, just like my life, my house ends up looking like a fucking tornado just ripped through it. But it's not dirt, it's just shit. Because I start this, and I start that, and I start that. And for the life of me, I can't just start something, complete it, and go on to the next thing. I just cannot do that unless it's super easy to do. Or that's the only task I have. It's a big task, build a tank. Okay. Nice. So it's like a lot of shit. So pay attention to the people around you and how they act, how they are, and picture them in a situation where they would be uncomfortable. And then see if they, in your head, visualize if they would last. And then think about a situation that you've been uncomfortable in. Like really not prison, but like quarantine with me kind of type shit. Being alone when you've never really been alone. A lot of people, I'm sure, share the same sentiments. Interestingly enough, as much as you are afraid that you think you'll change, people don't change. People just get smarter, so they hide the things that they know will offend other people. But they don't change.